This has actually been a pretty crazy week, so let's go ahead and just break it down. Starting with literally one of the coolest things I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, I know this is probably not the first time you've seen this, but I honestly can't get enough of it, so we're gonna watch it again right now. But this is the moment that SpaceX managed to catch their rocket booster out of midair with what they call their little chopsticks. So this is just so insane to me.
You can see how fast this vehicle is moving on the left hand.
Landing burn has been ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now in view.
Shutdown.
Megadilla has popped the booster.
This is absolutely insane. On the first ever attempt, we have successfully caught the Super Heavy booster back at the launch tower.
What an incredible view!
Are you kidding me?
Now, you probably can't tell on camera, but I literally just got goosebumps watching that again, and it's probably like the 10th time I've seen it. No, I know that has nothing to do with AI. I just think it is so cool. It's like so impressive what humans can accomplish when they all come together and put their brains together to engineer these types of things. It's mind-blowing to me. But let's go ahead and move on to the actual AI stuff. This week was Adobe Max out in Miami. This is an annual event that Adobe puts on where they show off all of the cool things that they're about to release right now. And then they also do this thing called Adobe Sneaks, where they give you a sneak peek of some of the really cool stuff that they're working on. And well, surprise, surprise, it was like all AI this year. Now, the thing that most people seem to be talking about from this event was the Adobe Firefly generative video. We've had generative images for a long time, but now Adobe Firefly is going to allow you to generate videos. You can see they type a text prompt here, they click generate, and you actually get pretty decent looking videos. I mean, they're probably cherry picked. If they're showing them at Adobe Max, you know it's going to be the best of the best that they're going to show off. But I mean, they look pretty good. And one thing about this new Adobe Firefly video model is that they claim that this is like the only ethical AI video model. We can see here it says Adobe trained its Firefly generative AI models on licensed content such as Adobe stock and public domain content, and it was developed in accordance with the company's AI ethics principles of accountability, responsibility, and transparency. Now, basically, they're saying that it wasn't trained on other people's videos and images to create this. It was trained on Adobe stock and public domain, but Adobe stock actually kind of includes some AI generated images, because I know for a long time Adobe stock was allowing people to upload images that they generated with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or these various AI platforms. So although they had the license to use those images, they were still images generated with tools that used, I guess, the less ethical ways of generating images. So it's all very confusing and complicated, but nonetheless, they claim that this is trained on all footage that they had the rights to use so that nobody could come back and say, hey, my videos were in your training set. Now, they showed off the Adobe Firefly video, but we don't actually have access to that mode where we can just type a prompt and get a video out, but they did give access inside of Adobe Premiere to what they call generative extend, which we can see here in this demo, where you can see they've got some footage down here, but there's a little bit of a gap. There's like a 2-second gap here that they need to close that gap, and they don't have video to close that gap. So they can now use AI to actually stretch and extend that footage, and you can see it now generates AI footage to just extend the existing video clip, which anybody who does video editing knows how handy that's going to be. Now, it does sound like they are starting to roll out beta access to this Adobe Firefly video model, but it is a waitlist. You can actually join the waitlist over at this long URL here, but I'll make sure it's linked up in the description so you can easily join the waitlist if you want to use this new generative video model. And here's a few more examples of it. Paper mache panda, an astronaut, unplugged something here. We got a little butterfly. It looks like it can generate text within the video, so that's pretty cool. And all sorts of cool examples of what it's capable of. If this had come out like a year ago, everybody would be blown away by it. But now that we've seen Sora, and we've seen Runway, and we've seen Luma Dream Machine, and we've seen Kling, and we've seen all of these other AI video tools, it feels like it's kind of on par with the rest of them. Adobe Photoshop got an AI upgrade as well. We can see in their little demo video here, there's a find distractions button. It finds wires and cables and people. He clicks the wires and cables button, the wires get removed. He clicks the people button, the people disappear. Now it's just the dude sitting on a wall. And of course, generative fill, that got some upgrades as well. They're basically running the latest image model called Firefly Image 3. We can see here, here's the new innovations in Photoshop. We've got the distraction removal tool. There's a new generative workspace. And now generally available, we've got generative fill, generative expand, generate similar, and generate background, which are all powered by that new Adobe Firefly 3 model. Here's a look at that generative workspace here. They type in a prompt, 3D podium, arches, product photography, minimal, blue, green, yellow. It generates a bunch of podium images that they can choose between, and then they are able to bring their product in and display it. All these features are available inside of the Adobe beta versions of the app. So if you're a Creative Cloud member, log into your Creative Cloud app, go to apps, click on beta, and make sure you're downloading the beta version of Photoshop or the beta version of Premiere Pro. The non-beta versions won't have them available yet. They also rolled out some AI features inside of Adobe Lightroom, things like quick actions that use AI to automatically touch up the sky, touch up the skin, make the colors pop, things like that. The generative remove feature is also available now inside of Adobe Lightroom, so you don't have to go into the full Photoshop in order to remove things from your photos. And those are really the main AI updates that are available right now. But I did mention they gave a whole bunch of sneak peeks of some of the things they were working on. And that's where the truly mind-blowing stuff came out of Adobe Max. If you're somebody that uses AI at work, or you're thinking about using AI at work, you need to check out HubSpot's completely free bundle, 5 essential resources for using ChatGPT at work. And honestly, if you haven't embraced AI yet, just remember what Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said. AI will be the most transformative technology of the 21st century. It will affect every industry and aspect of our lives. So if you're not using AI to speed up and improve the quality of your work, well, your competitors probably are. So the link to this totally free resource is down in the description below. And trust me, this is something you're going to want to look through. It includes interesting flowcharts on what you should or shouldn't use ChatGPT for. There's also a really cool template that you can use with ChatGPT to make sure that any of the content it creates for you follows your brand's voice. You've also got an AI-generated content refinement checklist to double-check the AI's work and ensure that you're putting something out into the world that you really want to be putting out there. There's also a 4-page checklist that you can easily follow all about adopting AI in the workplace, and a super comprehensive PDF guide on how to supercharge your day with ChatGPT. And here's something really cool. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of this document, they have 100 ways to try ChatGPT today, and it's got some really cool prompts to test out. Things like providing recommendations for improving customer service and support, providing recommendations for improving SEO, helping with email management and organization, and so much more. Again, it is really comprehensive and really helpful. Once again, the link to this completely free resource from HubSpot is in the description below. And thank you so much to HubSpot for sponsoring this video. One of my favorite demos was from this Project Perfect blend here, where it shows a table with, a Christmas background here. And the girl here who was demonstrating this, she pulled in an image of her boyfriend sitting at a table, removed the background, and then placed him like he was sitting at this table. And if we look down at the very bottom of the video here, there's this harmonize button. And when she clicks the harmonize button, you can see that it actually relights the image so it looks like he's actually in that position, and it even cast a new shadow on the table here to make it look like he's really there. She then pulled in an image of herself sitting at a table in completely different lighting, removed the background on it, and then clicked the harmonize button. And once again, it relit the whole thing, so it all looks like it's got the same lighting. It added shadows and it just made it look more real. They weren't done. They wanted to put a cat on the table, so they pulled in an image of a cat, removed the background on the cat, clicked the harmonize button, and made it look like the cat was sitting at the table. And then she showed off that you can like change the background on the image and it will relight the whole thing based on what's going on in the background. So notice how it's like an orange glow coming through the trees and it cast an orange glow on everybody in the image. Nighttime with fireworks, and you can see like this sort of blue glow on his face and this sort of orange glow on her face coming from the various fireworks. And no matter what they changed the background to, it made it all harmonize and look like it was all one cohesive image. They also showed off this Project Clean machine where they took this star lapse video, but it had all these like flashes in the video. Like here's the original video. You can see the sort of flashes that keep popping up on the camera. Well, he uses his Project Clean machine and it figures out how to remove all of those flashes and give him a really clean star lapse. They showed off this Project HiFi where they gave an image of a room, generated a bright pink empty living room, etc., etc. This to me looks very similar to what you can do with something like Nvidia Canvas. They drew a little plant image. It generated this plant image. They, gave us some more detail here. And then they were able to pull their plant image into the original image that they built. They drew this little couch image. It created this version of the couch. And of course, they're able to pull that couch into the image. Pretty cool stuff. We've seen stuff like this before, but it'll be cool to be able to do this kind of thing directly inside of Photoshop. They showed off this Project Scenic where they enter a prompt up here in the top right, a cozy campsite. They click generate and it generates this like campsite with 3D objects in it. And you notice each one is like a movable, scalable object, just like you would be able to interact with it in Blender. Once they have the composition dialed in the way they like it, they can click this generate button down here and it generates a more realistic image, but it follows the composition that they created using those 3D objects. Here's another example where it's sort of like zoomed out more and they added a whole bunch of trees and more tents around this campsite. And the cool thing is, this being a 3D space, they can point the camera however they want. So they can have like a top-down view of this campsite or this sort of low-angle view of the campsite. And then they can scale the things from this angle however they want, and they get a much more realistic image from that exact angle that they set up. So it's this really cool project where it creates this 3D environment. You can add whatever elements you want to the 3D environment, scale up, scale down, and then point the camera however you want, and then convert that to like a realistic image. They showed off this Project RemixALot, which looks like it's designed for Adobe Illustrator, where you can sort of mock up what you want like a flyer to look like, and then it will generate that flyer in a similar look to what you were going for. Here's another flyer that they generated, and this seems like it'll be really handy, really cool. This is where the sort of remixing comes in, is that they can resize it to any size that you want, and you can see it will generate that same image just in the new size. And you can see it sort of reformatted everything without it looking distorted and funky. She even showed a demo where she made this giant sort of like leaderboard style banner and it rearranged the text so it is in a more vertical format, and it did all of that with this sort of behind the scenes AI. So you just create the one flyer that you want, and then let's say you need a whole bunch of banners for Google ads or whatever, you just tell it the dimensions you want and it will regenerate a similar banner for every dimension that you want. It also has this feature where it can match a style. So they generated this little flyer here for a circus, and then they gave it this example to basically say, match the style of my banner with that banner. And you can see it regenerated their circus banner with all the same exact text and details, just in the same style of this other image that they uploaded. People who do a lot of banner advertising or do a lot on social media where they need different sizes of their memes or whatever they're making for various social media platforms are going to love that feature. But now we're getting into the coolest things that I saw at Adobe Max, and there was two that really stood out for me. The first one being this Project SuperSonic here. And this one is very audio based, so let me just play the demo for you here. In this first example, they give a video of a forest along with the prompt up here, forest ambience. And this is what it generated. So by giving it that one text prompt, it was able to match up the audio with the video footage.
Now, of course, I want to add a sound for the spaceship, but I'm kind of out of ideas. But no worries, because Project SuperSonic is also an inspiration machine. I can hit subject selection, and when I click on the spaceship, it's going to write a prompt for me. There we go. Check it out. We get a spaceship taking off from a forest planet. Sounds good to me. Let's give it a go. I'm going to hit generate, and let's see what we get.
I just thought that was really cool because you notice how as it lifts, it really syncs up to the sound. It's like whoop, and it's like as the spaceship goes up, it like knows that it makes that sound of taking off. I don't know, that to me was just really, really cool. But they actually had another demo here where he used his own voice to sort of control what was going to happen with the audio. So check this out.
Rah, rah, rah. We got the growls down. Now let's see what we get back. I'm going to type in monster growl, and I'm going to hit generate. And it's going to be using the precise timing, dynamics, and energy of my voice to drive the generation.
Whoa.
So that was really cool. And then the final thing, and this to me was the most mind-blowing because I can see it being used to like sort of easily do more like animations and stuff. And so I could see using it in some of my own like fun video workflows in the future. But this one's called Project Turntable.
The warrior should be looking at the dragon, right? So I have to turn the warrior around to face the dragon. But you see, it's a 2D vector shape, and I cannot just turn it around. Now, normally, I have to redraw the entire shape, which is going to take a lot of time. But here, let me show you our new tool. I just need to select the shape and click this Generate Views button. And then I can just rotate the shape by simply dragging the slider.
That is so crazy. Look at that. It figured out like every angle of that character, and now he can set that character up however he wants.
I can just turn the dragon around like this.
And then of course he goes and does it with the dragon as well to show off that it can do it with any of the images. That to me was probably the most mind-blowing, the coolest thing that I saw out of Adobe Max was this Project Turntable. Again, Adobe Max Sneaks is all sneak peeks of stuff they've been working on, so this isn't actually stuff that's currently available. These are sort of like their experimental projects that they're doing that will be available eventually, but they don't really have much of a timeline on yet. But this is one that, man, that was so cool. But those were really the main things I wanted to show off from Adobe Max. There was a lot more that wasn't related to AI, you know, a lot of other quality of life features that they added to Illustrator and to their various suites of tools. But I wanted to show you the stuff that really impressed me, and specifically the AI related stuff. So since we're on this vein of sort of creativity and art right now, let's talk about Kaiber, because Kaiber just launched what they call Superstudio. The new Kaiber Superstudio now adds the ability to use Luma Labs Dream Machine directly inside of it, Black Forest Labs Flux, and Kaiber's own image and video models that they already had available. It's also got this canvas interface in it that allows you to sort of connect the dots and have this like visual workflow. So I actually happen to have a Kaiber account, so we can take a look and we can see we've got this like canvas that I can move around and zoom way in on and zoom out on. And I just realized as I hover over these videos, it automatically plays any of these videos that I hover over. Now, it kind of looks like they're trying to model what you get out of something like Comfy UI, but a little bit less complex. We can see up here, it looks like we can upload our own images, pick a aesthetic here, and then it will output a handful of variations in this image creation flow here. And then down in this video creation flow, which is using Luma's Dream Machine, it looks like, you could give a text prompt of a subject, you can give the video details like the aspect ratio, you can give it a starting keyframe, you can even give it an ending keyframe, and watch as it animates between those two keyframes. It looks like it's pretty much taking what you can do with Flux, what you can do with Luma's Dream Machine, and what you've already been able to do with Kaiber, and sort of mashing them all together into this like node-based connecting workflow system. And then as you build it, it's on this like infinite canvas where you could keep on adding more to it and build out a sort of board of creative ideas. If I click on this plus button up at the top, we have all sorts of options like Luma Video, Flux Image, Image Lab, Video Restyle, Image Upscale, Profile Picture Restyle, and Logo Restyle. And if I click on any one of these, it brings that little node in, and I can update the details here. So in my image lab, I can give it a prompt or a image. Let's give it the prompt of Wolfe howling at the moon. Press this little smiley face button here, and we can see it starts on a generation here. And we got an image of a wolf howling at a moon that I can zoom in on in my infinite canvas here. I come up to this plus button again and do Luma video. I can give it the subject, a wolf howling at the moon. It would be cool if I was able to just take this wolf howling at the moon, pull it in here as my starting keyframe, and oh, it did. I can. And now if I click generate, it should generate based on this image that I just pulled in here as my starting keyframe. And roughly a minute later, I've got a video of a wolf. Well, yeah. We all know how AI video is right now. Sometimes it takes a few re-rolls. I really like this sort of canvas style where you can just sort of keep on adding stuff to the same window and get more creative and, you know, drag what you've created into other little modules here. Something that I need to play around with more. This was actually my first time testing this on this video, but so far seems pretty cool. Not nearly as complicated as what something like Comfy UI is. And I have a feeling this like node-based system where you connect the dots is going to get fleshed out a little bit more over time. The tool Krea AI just integrated pretty much all of the video models that are available into one platform. So if you have a Krea account, you can now create videos with Minimax, Luma Labs, Runway, Pika Labs, and Kling, which I think pretty much covers all the main players in the AI video generation space. So if I go over here to Krea.ai, go into video, click generate videos, I could generate a video by typing a prompt, a wolf howling at the moon. And then down in the bottom left, you can see a little pop-up menu with options for Luma, Runway, Kling, Haluo AI, which is also Minimax, and then Pika. It also looks like it gives you estimated times for how long it'll take to generate. Luma's 1 minute, Runway's 1 minute, Kling is about 10 minutes, Haluo AI is about 10 minutes, Pika is 5 minutes. Pretty cool upgrade. So now if you want to play around with these AI video models, you can play around with all of the available models in one single place. If you're a fan of generating music, Suno just rolled out a new feature with video and image prompting. It says here, whether it's a stunning landscape, a funny meme, a candid selfie, or a quick video of your daily adventure, Suno Scenes helps you create unique songs from your favorite photos and videos, all from your phone. Now, it looks like it's only available on the mobile app, which I do happen to have here. So we can go ahead and take a peek. I'll go ahead and click the create button. Let's just go ahead and take a picture of what I'm seeing right now and see what it generates from that. It does say, pro tip, adding some context makes your song even more personal, but I kind of don't want to do that. I want it to read the image. I feel like if I give it more context, then it's just me giving it like a text input for a song. So I want to just do it. I know I can give it a style like punk or hip hop or whatever. I just want to see what it does if I just give it an image. Here's what we got.
Camera and screen and a dance, recursive trance, ocean's backdrop, tech playing tricks.
We can see the lyrics it generated here. Camera and screen in a dance, recursive trance, ocean's backdrop, tech play and tricks. That was all the lyrics it generated based on what it saw. But there's a painting in the background with the ocean, and there is tech and a camera and a screen. So, I mean, it figured out what's in the picture and made music around it. HeyGen also rolled out a new feature called Interactive Avatar. They claim this will allow you to attend thousands of meetings and classes and things like that at the same time, because you can create an avatar of yourself and then allow that avatar to go on like Zoom meetings for you. So you like train it with all of this information about how you would respond to things. You train it on your face, your voice, all of that stuff. And supposedly it could get onto meetings and then actually interact in those meetings, and it would know how you think and how you talk and how you'd probably respond based on all the additional context and data that you give it. I haven't played with this yet. One of my good buddies, Brad Costanzo, actually did. He actually jumped on a Zoom meeting with one of these avatars, and this was his experience.
Okay, so as you're a business consultant, right? What's your experience in business consulting?
I'm here as your supportive AI business coach. My focus is on helping you analyze challenges, develop strategies, and take actionable steps to reach your goals. So let's tackle those lead generation strategies together. What's your target audience?
Executives at large businesses.
Got it. Targeting executives at large businesses is a smart approach. Have you considered networking events or LinkedIn outreach to connect with them? Let's brainstorm some effective
Of course I
strategies
have.
for this
But right
audience.
now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to interrupt you and see how well you react. Let me ask this. What do you think is the single best way to target executives for lead generation, not using LinkedIn?
No problem. I appreciate the test. Aside from LinkedIn, hosting webinars or workshops can be a fantastic way to attract executives. It positions you as an expert and creates engagement. What do you think?
Hey, you're pretty good.
Now, this is something I'll have to play around with a little bit more and put it through its motions. When I tried to use it earlier today myself, their servers were overloaded and it kept on saying there was too many sessions going on, so I wasn't actually able to get in and use it. But I do plan to experiment with this and probably make a video about my findings on this one. All right, let's get into rapid fire mode. I'm going to show off a whole bunch of other news items in the AI world that I found interesting this week. And let's go ahead and start with Meta. Meta just released their new AI research for Co-Tracker 3, which you can see is a model that makes it a lot easier to track individual elements within a single video. This will come in handy for a lot of video editing. So when you need to track something and have like something pinned to whatever you're tracking, they're just getting better and better at being able to track what's going on in 3D space on those videos. They do have a Hugging Face demo where you could go and try it yourself. If I pull in this video of this dude jumping off a hill paragliding, it allows me to add points all over him. So I can go ahead and put like a point on his head, a point on his little backpack here. Let's put one on his hand, one on each foot, maybe put one over here on this side, and then click track. You can see it makes this video where the points try to follow that exact same position in 3D space from where I put those dots. Since we're talking about Meta, I figured I'd mention this. Blumhouse tests AI with Meta partnership on short films. Last week I talked about Meta Movie Gen. Well, this company, Blumhouse, is using Meta Movie Gen with filmmakers like Casey Affleck, Anish Giganti, and the Spurlock sisters. Now, there's not a ton of details here. I'm not totally sure when we're going to get to see these films, but it is encouraging to see that more and more people in Hollywood are embracing the AI technology instead of trying to fight against it and sue these companies into oblivion. Nvidia quietly released a new open source model this week called Llama 3.1 Nemotron 70B Instruct. And this new model actually managed to outperform GPT-4 Turbo, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, GPT-4o, pretty much all of the biggest models out there other than the newest O1 models in these benchmarks. And I say they quietly rolled out because they didn't put out any news articles about it. They didn't make any videos about it. I don't even know if Nvidia tweeted about it. It's crazy to me that these open source models are pretty much catching up with the state-of-the-art models that exist right now. The only currently better model on the market is O1, and that's a closed source model. This is actually still beating out a lot of other closed source models. So that's pretty impressive. And since we're talking about large language model, Mistral also released some new models this week that are optimized for laptops and phones. They're called Ministral 3B and Ministral 8B with context windows of 128,000 tokens, meaning they can ingest roughly a 50-page book. And because these are smaller models, theoretically, they are going to be able to run inference directly on device. So we won't need to send data to the cloud for it to process and give us a response. Ideally, you'll be able to do it directly on your mobile phone or laptop. OpenAI has had a ChatGPT desktop app for a while, but it's only been available if you're on a Mac. Well, this week they rolled out their desktop app for Windows. So if you go to openai.com/chatgpt/download, you can see they now have the option to test an early version of the Windows app. Click on that and you can download it. And we now have our familiar ChatGPT interface, just now in a separate desktop app instead of inside of the browser. Perplexity got a pretty cool update this week as well with internal knowledge search and spaces. So let's check this out. If we go over to perplexity.ai here, there's a new link over on the left sidebar called Spaces. And if we create a space, we can give it a title. Let's just call this one Test Space. Pick the model we want to use. I still like to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and we can give it custom instructions just like we can Claude and ChatGPT now. Let's just go ahead and click continue, jump into our test space, and we have the option to add files here. This works just like Perplexity normally works, but we can also add additional context through PDFs and text files and things like that. So now it's combining the power that we get with like Claude projects or custom GPTs, but using Perplexity with the ability to search the web and the sort of multi-search agentic features that Perplexity has. So this is going to be pretty cool. I haven't played around with this one a whole lot yet because it rolled out the day that I'm recording this video, but I'm really, really excited to deep dive, add some additional files and some context to my searches and see what comes out of it. NotebookLM also got an update. If you've been watching my channel for the last several weeks, you'll know that I've become a pretty big fan of NotebookLM. It's this tool that allows you to upload documents or pull in YouTube videos or pull in articles, and then you can chat with those articles. You can create FAQs, create briefing docs, and even create a little audio podcast around the information that you pulled in. Well, they just rolled out this new feature where if we go and create a new notebook, and let's go ahead and just pull in a PDF here, click on my notebook guide here. Now, if I wanted to generate a podcast, I have my button to generate the podcast, but I also now have a customize button. This is brand new. If I click on customize, I can actually give some additional information to the podcast hosts. I can upload a long book and say, hey, just talk about what's going on in chapter 2 of this book. Or I can say, make this podcast funny and make a lot of jokes about this information. Or when you give me back the podcast, explain everything like I'm a 5-year-old. Really, really dumb it down for me. You can give it additional instructions and custom information. So it's got the PDF documents and whatever information you give it over on that side, but also it now knows how to sort of handle that information and how to discuss it on the podcast. That's a pretty cool new feature as well. Dropbox rolled out a new AI feature this week called Dash, which is an AI-powered universal search for your teams. You can see here, they can type quarterly business review, and it searches all of the documents within a Dropbox that are related to quarterly business information. It's basically just a much more improved search feature on your Dropbox that is now leveraging AI. Amazon Ads launched a new AI tool for advertisers. This is kind of the same thing we've been seeing from like every e-commerce platform, where you could give it some images of the product you're trying to sell, and it will then create, other images of that product in different environments. They even showed off that you can create like a little video of your image. So if we look at this version here, we see the mug, and it turns it into a live image where the steam is coming off the mug and you can see the waves in the background. Just some ways to take your initial product and make them look a little bit prettier on your Amazon listing. Apple this week introduced a new iPad mini, which was designed to use Apple Intelligence. From all of the reviews and everything I've seen so far, it's pretty much the same iPad mini that we've had before, just with a new chip in it, which is more designed to use these new Apple Intelligence features, which haven't really rolled out yet. So it's an iPad mini designed to use Apple Intelligence, but Apple Intelligence isn't really quite ready yet. But when it is, this iPad will be ready for it. This company, MTech Labs, unveiled a motion tracking smart glasses. These glasses are embedded with mini sensors that capture real-time facial expressions. They include movements around the eyes, eyebrows, cheeks, and jawline, and it's able to measure these subtle facial cues of smiling or chewing food. And they really see two major applications for this: mental health and diet tracking. So it can sort of sense when you're happy, sad, frustrated, mad, things like that, and sort of track for mental health purposes. Also, because it's going to have front-facing cameras and the sensors that can tell when you're chewing, it can help prevent overeating and tell you to slow down on eating and things like that. The glasses aren't available yet, but they do plan to release a development kit by December, which typically when they say they're going to release a development kit, it means that they're going to release a version that's really, really expensive just for developers to sort of play with. So it's probably still a ways away before consumers actually get their hands on a product like this. And finally, this has nothing to do with AI. I just thought it was cool and wanted to share it. The FTC has announced a click to cancel rule that will require companies to let you cancel any products as easily as you registered, which is amazing news because I absolutely can't stand it when you sign up for a subscription online and then they make you like fax them something or, send something by Raven to get it canceled. Now that kind of practice is going to be illegal. It needs to be just as easy to cancel as it was to subscribe, including things like gym memberships. That's going to be amazing. It is sort of related to AI because there's so many products that offer monthly subscriptions in the AI world. And as these tools sort of consolidate into single products owned by the big incumbents that all have the features under it, the Googles, the Microsofts, companies like that, they're probably all going to offer a lot of these AI features. And we're going to be wanting to cancel a lot of these products that we're sort of one-time using and subscribing with membership fees. So exciting that is happening. I'm a big fan of this decision. It seems like this should have happened a long time ago, honestly. And that's what I got for you this week. A lot happened. most of it from Adobe, a really cool rocket launch. It's been an exciting week. Stuff is starting to ramp up and feel really exciting and fun again. I'm done with traveling for the year, but I have been sick the last couple of weeks, so my videos haven't been as consistent as I want to, other than these Friday news videos, but I do have a lot of fun videos in the works planned out to come out for this channel. So if you like stuff like this, you like staying in the loop with all the latest AI news, you like AI tutorials and how to use these various tools, you want to keep your finger on the pulse of the latest research, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. I'll make sure you stay looped in. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out futuretools.io, where I curate all of the latest and coolest AI tools. Keep the AI news page up to date, so if you want to know all the most interesting AI news on a daily basis, you can check that out here. And I have a free email newsletter. You sign up, I'll send you my free AI income database, which is a whole bunch of cool ways to use AI tools to make money online. You can find it all over at futuretools.io. It's 100% free, so give that a look. And that's all I got. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this one as well. Really, really appreciate you guys. Thanks for nerding out. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.